I am thrilled to be here and talk about one of my absolute most favorite passion topics. That's geographical farming. I have been farming since my 4 months into the business. My first full year in real estate was 2016. And what I'm about to share a little snippet of with you is what I still do to this day with the production levels that she just mentioned. So when I first got licensed, I shadowed other agents. I saw open house, door knocking. I went through all of them. The social media, I sat with somebody who was crushing that. And I was really looking for what tapped into my natural skill set. And of all the methods, I loved the farming model because those agents, I can walk in a grocery store and see people I've never talked to, and they feel like they know you in my community. For me, I wanted micro success. I wanted my community to see me as the mayor. So it's kind of weird when it first starts happening, when people walk up to you and talk to you like they know you, and they've only seen you, or they're trying to figure out why you look so familiar, because you're in their mailbox every month. But this is the reason that I chose farming is because I didn't like any of the other methods. I like the face-to-face. I like the community, I like relationship pieces, and I wanted quality over quantity on leads. So I have, over the years, sat with probably a couple of 100 agents and helped them map out a farming plan. And I'm going to share the most common mistake that people make when they're farming and why they give up. How many of you have tried farming like 1 or 2 times and you're like, it doesn't work, I'm never doing it again, right? I'm going to tell you why it didn't work and why you should do it again. Because when I have agents come to me, it's very consistent over rural, in the city, high price point, low price point. It doesn't matter, it transcends all of it. They usually come to me with a budget of about $1,500 to $5,000. That's the usual spend that someone has on farming. They want to go broad and deep and big, and they want one killer, an assassin piece to go out, and then they want to make $1 million from doing something one time. One thing consistently, there's very few things you'll ever do once in life and yield the benefits you want. If it was that easy, it wouldn't be worth having or doing. We all know that. So what I do instead, the simple basic formula is you figure out on your spend, what are you willing to spend every month for a minimum of 6 to 9 months. If you're not willing to send that amount out every single month for 6 to 9 months, you are wasting your money. You cannot do it once. You will get a sporadic hit here or there, but a true sustainable business and bounty is going to happen with repetition, consistency over time, like anything else, like we just heard from the previous speaker. So here is, I think, the most helpful thing that surrounds why do people make that mistake. Why do they want to go one-time mailers? They don't get what they want. They're really sad because that was a lot of spend with no reward. But if you do it every single month over time, you will get what you're looking for. And this is the simplest way to think about it. Truly envision, stay with me on this, envision an actual farmer on a tractor in a field. They are tilling rows of crop, corn, carrots, whatever it is. They're tilling it. They go back, they water it. They have to fertilize it. They have to remove the weeds from it. You have to take care of what they did. So geographic farming is incredibly similar to that. It's called farming, not Instacart. It's not Amazon, where you can get it by 4 a.m. exactly what you want. That Amazon factor is real, I think, for all of us. But if you think about a geographic farm in exactly this way, the farmer's land is your neighborhood, whatever you're going to farm. Whatever the community is, whether it be a specific subdivision, surrounding walkable parks, whatever, you can create a farm. It doesn't have to be one neighborhood with a sign in front of it, and people get hung up on that factor too. So what I suggest is you think about it exactly like this. If that farmer on that tractor is only going out to that field one single time, watering it, fertilizing it, planting the seeds, and then just walks away from it, what kind of bounty is he going to get? Probably nothing. A sprout here or there, you might get lucky, but you're not going to get a true sustainable bounty at the end of season, if you will. And if you think about geographical farming exactly that way, you'll understand why consistency over time is a must. So our seeds are our marketing materials that we send. Our water is our open houses, it's our door knocking efforts, all of the ways that you can produce business from a geographical farm. So when you connect with that concept, that you have to go back and visit the farm, but if you do it again next month, and you water, fertilize, and weed, and you do it again the next month, and the next month, well, what happens over time with real crops on a farm? Little sprouts become full plants. And all of a sudden, you go from a brand new agent to one with a 7-figure income in 2 years and 2 months from sending postcards and not talking to anybody. I don't do the cold calling. So what that did in such a short amount of time to me, I started getting from brand new to market share. And I'm talking about 40% market share by the end of year 2. And from year 3 on, I've had 50 to 62% market share in my farm. And I've maintained it for 5 years. So it's not a fluke. It wasn't beginner's luck. It is consistency over time. 1 quality postcard per month over time sends sticky things. What I mean by sticky things, I rarely will send a just listed or an under contract. I will send just sold, because everybody likes to know what house is sold for in their neighborhood. But I send pieces that are of value and benefit to the community that they want to keep. I will do fall festivals, SEC football schedules. I always slip at least 2 or 3 sticky pieces in so that I live on their refrigerator or on their countertop. So always keep in mind, if you were them in that community, which you probably live near if you're wanting to farm it, what would you keep if you got in your mailbox and send that? Be very careful about sending, I call them fluffy pieces, like recipes and things like that. I do not want to be top of mind when you want to bake an apple pie. So I'm not going to send you a recipe with one. I want to be top of mind on every single thing you want to do in your home. So that is when the vendor list becomes your cash cow. The very first thing I did 2 or 3 months after getting licensed, I figured out, well, I don't have any just listeds or just solds or under contracts to send. So what am I sending these people? I started collecting the best plumbers, electricians, mold remediation, tree trimming, renovation contractors that I either knew and used or my friends knew and used. That's where my first list came from. I didn't go randomly on the internet. Who do I know? that has contractors that have done phenomenal jobs for them that I wouldn't have to worry about referring. So then social media enters, and every single time, and I was spending an obnoxious amount of time monitoring this. If someone was looking for a roofer, new windows, needed their house pressure washed, guess who they were calling? I never shared the person publicly. I always sent it to them privately, because there they would see my realtor information. Like, be careful to not be the, hey, I'm a realtor. People shun that oftentimes if you haven't established trust in that community just yet. But in that email, my email signature would say all the things I wanted to know, or it would come in a text form when I got their contact information. Never stop there. Always follow it through. After I gave those vendors to these people, the trust and the mayor of the neighborhood is born when you care enough to call them back a week later, a month later, 3 months later, depending on the project, and just say, hey, I was checking in to see how my referral went for you. I take that very seriously, who's on my list. So I want to make sure you had a great experience, and if you didn't, how can I help you with that? When you start doing that for people, you become top of mind for everything, and then you start being tagged. Somebody else is looking for a contractor. Oh, you should call Susan Lombardo, or they tag me in it. Hey, do you have an electrician? Do you have whatever trade they're looking for? And then it starts taking on a life of its own, where I'm not the person that has to monitor every single post, because people are monitoring it for me now. So that is how you really penetrate a community in getting their trust. Chase their trust, not their commission, not their sale. If you're chasing the money, you're going to have to work very, very hard in this business. If you are giving them service freely, when they're not buying and selling, when they're ready to buy or sell, they're going to come to you. And I have postcards saved 6 months, 12 months, a year and a half later. They were like, I don't know, what's going on here, but we weren't even thinking about selling our house, but we just started collecting your postcards. We weren't sure why at first, because we weren't buying or selling. But somewhere in the back of their mind, they knew one day when they did, I was who they was going to call. And I was probably 2 years into it before I really understood the power of that, because they want to use people they know, they like, and they trust. And even if you've never met them, once they're watching what you're doing and keeping, and then talk to the neighbors when they're out walking who's worked with you, they start being your biggest advocates. And then the final piece that I did is I layered events in the community so I can get face-to-face. All I need to do is get in front of you and we're going to work together. So I started doing garage sales. I'm not a garage sale shopper at all. But people who are selling their houses frequently utilize a garage sale. So I said, that's what I'm going to do. I do a garage sale. That's all I did. It was sweat equity, cost me nothing but my time. And then it evolved into more with electronics recycling, with paper shredding. I have a charity pickup, and then finally my junk guy. So it's a one-stop shop. Whatever they took out in the morning, by end of day, I've covered everything. So if you are interested in a massive financial opportunity led in service with communities, where you can have, I have 88 to 92% repeat refer, and all of the other 60% or so of business I can attribute back to that first farm, because I kept in contact with them. After we close, that's not the end of it. So keep being of service to people, show up, keep what they need, make sticky pieces, and you can build an incredible business in a very, very short amount of time.